So thank you. Topping our news right now, another fire, but this one at a gay nightclub in Oak Park. It's now being called an arson case.
And the owner says whoever did it left a hateful message. Anita Padilla is live for us in Oak Park this morning. Good morning, Anita.
Hi, good morning to both of you. That's right. Right now, investigators are looking into exactly how this happened. But joining me live right now is the owner of the nightclub, Frank Elliott. Thank you so much for joining us here. I imagine this has been very devastating for your Velvet Rope Ultra nightclub, set on fire intentionally, apparently.
I don't know exactly. We still don't know everything, but it appears to be there was something, possibly a hate crime or definitely with arson. We're kind of all at a shock and awe.
Now this is interesting. He's saying shock and awe, okay? He's saying shock and awe. I got news for you. That's one of the biggest planned words ever used in history. George Bush used the same phrase when they were getting ready to bomb Iraq, i.e. Babylonia. What did he say? Oh, it's shock and awe. It's shock and awe. It's shock and awe. Well, it's not shock and awe. It's Shekinah. And if you read here from the book of Biblical Demonology, a study of spiritual forces, we can see that the word Saturn comes up, and the Shekinah is the glory of Saturn. It's also the female aspect and the destructive force behind Saturn. So you got some, given the present times we live in and what cities are involved in, you know what. Again, this is coded. But this story even gets better.
So the police department detectives, no one's telling me anything, and I'm just shocked.
This is the only gay nightclub in Oak Park, and what makes you think that this was a hate crime, was some kind of attack on you individually?
Well, from what I was told, there were some derogatory sayings written on the walls, and they were removed before I was allowed to go into the premises. So that says something right there, that it was some type of derogatory saying. Otherwise, why would they have removed it?
Okay, so he's saying that there was a derogatory remark. The cops went in and removed it. Okay, and I think if you listen a little bit farther, it says that they removed it and took it to be analyzed. Okay, since when does graffiti or hate, I can see taking a letter that somebody writes that has a violent nature to it, like harm's going to come to somebody, and they send it to a lab to get fingerprints, and or have a person that looks at handwriting and makes comparisons to try and figure out who the perpetrator is. They don't remove sections of wall. I got news for you. This story stinks to high heaven. And this is the same bullshit they pulled in that video I made in my old channel called Science 2012, where the firemen are running around and they were coming out and there's a guy in a purple shirt walking around. This is as fucking demonic as it gets. And that it's probably some type of a fucking sigil on there which will pull energies up out of the ground, and or, if you would like the phrase, demonic forces.
I was told there were some derogatory things written on the walls, and they were removed before I was allowed to go into the premises. So that says something right there, that it was some type of derogatory thing. Otherwise, why would they have removed it? Nothing was taken, so they just wanted to destroy the place.
That's Frank Elliott, who says he has no idea who would set his business on fire. This is what investigators are telling him. As of Sunday morning, he said he left this location at 2 in the morning, and then 4.5 hours later got a call that his business was on fire. When he came here, investigators told him that somebody had written hateful and derogatory messages on the wall. Now, sections of the wall were removed from the location and then taken to another.
Okay, so let's look at this. Since when do police go in and scrub graffiti off a freaking wall? They don't. However, if you're doing something like really evil and you're putting up sigils, which are gateways, like a pentagram and a circle is a gateway for a specific type of a demon. Those different geometrical figures are gateways, so that certain demons can pass through, other ones can't. But if you had one of those on the wall, you have to learn to start getting your head around this stuff. There is no difference between magic and science. It's the same fucking thing. One works on a spiritual aspect, the other one works on a physical aspect. Okay? That's all that's going on here. And what they're doing is some really, really evil bullshit type of stuff. That's why the towers came down in the fashion they did. Those buildings were built exactly on a spot where they knew in long in advance that they would come crashing down in the fashion that they did. Wake up. Magic exists just like science. Just think of it as science with two different names. And magic and science are the same thing. That's why the CERN collider is not dealing with science, it's dealing with the spiritual aspect. It's dealing with opening gates and closing of gates and dimensional properties. But getting back to the original statement, the police don't go in and scrub. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is just ludicrous. And if you give me enough time, I guarantee you if I get the right angle on this, I can show you that there's probably 3 or 4 faces in there. So, you know, let's just be honest about this. We're living in the end times, not the end of the world times, but the end of time as we know it, in the fashion of this constructed framework we call society. That's getting ready to crash because they've got their own idea about how they want this place to run. Okay? And it's going way, 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 way back to the time of the Phoenicians, which are the people from the sea, and Cain. Okay? There's an agreement made there between Cain, who got kicked out by the Jews, and the Phoenicians, who are the fallen ones who have a beef to pick with the Creator. And so they teamed up. The Phoenicians will take care of the spiritual. Cain's descendants will take care of the physical, meaning the human side.
Location for investigators to analyze the information. At this point, though, he has no idea who might have done this, but it is going to be a while before he can get his business back up and running again. According to the people who live in the community, they're surprised that something like this would happen in Oak Park.
Okay, I just quickly want to go over this. Then we see the Saturn and Shekinah. We find out that that's the glory, but what is it in reference to? And giving themselves over to the worship of Moloch. Who is Moloch? Moloch is the one that they burn children to. So here we're dealing with a story about fire, and we're dealing with the phrase shock and awe, which that guy, trust me, nothing's by chance on TV anymore, folks. People don't just say stuff, and no, it's just willy-nilly. So he's saying shock and awe, which is Shekinah, and that's that has to do with fire and burning up children and or people. So in my opinion, what's going on here is that was it's the suburb of Chicago of Oak Park. Chicago's definitely one of the ones that is going to be in the line of fire. It's not good. It's not good. It's just one more piece of evidence that there's bad things coming. I mean, it's right there, dude. All you got to do is put it together. It's not that hard. You don't have to be a brain or a whiz to figure this stuff out. A biblical background helps, and that's why I wish more of you people would have read the Bible, because it's absolutely the only connection that we have at our fingertips between us and what they're doing. Without it, you're pretty much walking in the dark.